Hi, my name is Valerie. I'm from Germany and I'm a former McKinsey consultant.
My name is Amalia. I'm from Spain and I'm a lawyer by training.
And together with our third team member, Rebecca, who unfortunately can't be here today, we are Team Balanced. So I want to quickly talk about how we came up with the idea of working on a healthy restaurant. So Amalia and myself, we moved to Boston in August from Europe. We went out a lot, we went out to dinner often. We had a good time, but we gained a lot of weight. So we talked a lot about this, we did some research, and we were shocked when we saw the data on American obesity. So we started talking with our US friends about if they are actually missing something, because we thought maybe it's just us because we are Europeans. But actually it turned out that they also would really like to see more healthy options. So coming back to the shocking data I just talked about, in the US, almost 70% of US adult population is overweight or obese. And the bad news is that even if you are not obese, your risk of cancer can increase with a wrong diet. And again, data shows that Americans actually have this wrong diet. The intake from calories from fat is just too high. And obviously, restaurants play a really critical role. So people have less time, but more money to spend, which means that they go out to dinner more often. And thus, it's really important that restaurants actually offer healthy food to make sure that the people get the diet they need. So, and the good thing is that the industry starts to respond. So what you see here is the What's Hot survey. The What's Hot survey shows the top trends in the restaurant industry. And what you can see is that most of the trends are either health-related or sustainability local-related, which also goes hand in hand with this healthy trend. Government is responding too. I'm sure all of you have heard of My Plate, which was promoted by Michelle Obama. And then last but not least, restaurants start offering healthy menu items on their regular menu. Here you can see examples of Applebee's or Dunkin' Donuts. And the good thing is people really like this. People respond positively to the trend. So now the question becomes, if there are actually offerings, why are people still not eating healthy food? And so there are three reasons. First of all, yes, there is a trend towards healthy food, but still, when you ask restaurant goers what they miss, one of the most frequent answers is healthy dining options. So they don't have enough choice. Secondly, it's the price. Oftentimes, healthy items are just more expensive than traditional food, and price often beats health focus. And third is prejudices. So people think that healthy food is less tasty and less saturating than traditional food. And as, of course, you go out to dinner to treat yourself, this means that people choose unhealthy food because of the taste over healthy food.
And that's why our target is not only to offer tasty, healthy options for lunch or dinner, but instead to show people that there are other ways to enjoy their food, that they can reproduce it at home and consequently change their habits. And that's why our vision is to address to everyone, to the young professional looking for a healthy lunch alternative, but even to a whole family or a group of friends looking for a fun dining experience. And now I will ask you to think about a healthy dish. And I'm pretty sure that you will think about a green leaf salad. And I mean, that's a great dish, and it is very healthy, but it's kind of sad that people always think about healthy food and reduce it to a green salad. And that's why we developed a whole new menu, who includes, for example, healthier versions of American dishes, like a balanced burger or the flatbread, but even digital plates that will show you other ways to enjoy your food, like the no-lettuce salad. And now, if you take a look to an average burger, a traditional burger, for example, in Burger King with the so much loved French fries, you can see that you are intaking in only one meal almost 1,200 calories. That means that you are intaking over 60% of the calories you should intake in a whole day. And that's way too much. I mean, and even the percentage of fat, it's just alarming. And at the opposite side, you can find a few to no one vitamins. And now, let us compare it to our balanced burger. you can see that a complete meal in our restaurant will allow you to enjoy it for only 700 calories. And we have reduced the fat to the half of a normal burger. And even the vitamins, we have increased it and even more than double it. But now I'm pretty sure you're thinking about, yeah, the nutritional facts are great, but what's about the taste? Can a low-fat burger really taste as well as a traditional one? And I'm not gonna be the one who answered this question, but instead, 100 customers will do it for us.
It looks good as much and it tastes very good as well.
I love the no lettuce salad. It's very delicious. It's great. Now I'm gonna try this and it looks really delicious, so pretty excited.
Sandy Creighton, and I'm here today to taste all this wonderful food that you've been doing. And I'm on the program committee at the Harvard Business School. I'm their class of 1970, so for you guys, and if I can help you in any way, and I'm going to actually follow through on the organic food supply chain here. But I wish you all great luck and good fortune.
Thank you.
The Balanced Burger at Balanced Kitchen is great. It's healthy and flavorful and delicious.
I love your burgers. They're very delicious, and I can't wait to have another one.
Good.
Okay.
Bordering on delicious, but on the very good range. You know?
How do you like it, guys?
Oh, it's delicious.
Cinnamon, absolutely delicious. Highly recommend it.
Now, Balanced Kitchen is not only about the food. I mean, when people are going out for lunch or dinner, they're looking for great dishes, that's true, but they're looking for a whole experience. And that's why we are trying to recreate in our restaurant a clean atmosphere, but warm enough to let you feel as comfortable as at home. And we are introducing new technology so that we can make our operations more effective, but create a new range of new opportunities for our customers. That's why we introduced tablets like iPads instead of the traditional paper menus. So customers are able to see pictures of the dishes, to choose their sides, to put reviews on it. Yeah, that's great. And even we will reduce their waiting time because they don't have to wait for waiters anymore. They just can put the order directly on the device. And even for this time, we will make it more pleasant because we will offer them pleasure activities for the meanwhile. And now, if we think about our target customer, as I said in the very beginning, This everyone, we are addressing to everyone, but it's very important to identify the early adopters. And we think that is the young professionals, because research have showed us that high educated people are just taking more care about their well-being in general. So that they are more willing to pay for now for this kind of food. And they can really set up the trend of eating healthy and wash away a lot of prejudices people have right now. And once this is done, we can address to the average worker, to the students, and our midterm goal is, of course, whole families and group of friends who are just looking for a fun dining experience without the need to intake more than 2,000 calories in one meal. About location, we identified as our ideal location Boston and Cambridge. And why? Because both of them have a really high density population with high educated people, with a large number of students, and a very high dining index from 190 to 230. And even in downtown, which are our first target market in Boston, they have a large numbers of employees who are looking for lunch alternatives. And now when we take a look at our competitors, we can see there are just not many out there. And even the few that are out there are concentrating more on a quick service segment. That's mean more for takeaway. But there is absolutely or almost nothing in the casual segment. And that's the niche that we want to fill with a full service restaurant and offering sit-down service.
So who is the team that thinks that they can actually build a new healthy restaurant? So first of all, I'm Valerie. I'm a HBS student, class of 2013. Before coming here, I was a senior consultant at McKinsey in Munich, in Germany. And during college, I actually worked for 3 years in a restaurant. So I know the front of the house operations. I know what we need to offer to make guests happy. And in the venture, given my analytical background, I will focus mainly on back of the house operations, which means things like supplier relations, taking care of the inventory, and most importantly, preparing and analyzing the financial data.
Again, my name is Amalia. I'm a law graduate from Spain and specialized in international business law through LLM in the University from Vienna. Afterwards, I worked for international business laws so that I'm pretty confident working across jurisdictions so that I can take care about part of the legal work in our venture. And I gained entrepreneurial experience by founding my own NGO for 5 years in Spain from scratch that is running by now really successful. And my immediate role in the venture will be more focusing in the front of the house, so enhancing customer relations and taking care of the staff.
Our third team member is Rebecca. Rebecca is a nutritionist and a graduate chef from the Culinary Institute of America. So she's the perfect person who take on the role of the executive chef. She has great experience working as a chef and also in restaurant concept development. Of course, we know that we don't know everything. This is why we have great advisors and mentors. I just want to name a few. Tony, who is actually our mentor in the President's Challenge, he's a venture capitalist focusing on the restaurant industry. So he has this great view on what investors are looking for. And then on the other side, more hands-on, is Luciano. Luciano is an advisor for small businesses who want to open a unit in Boston, and he's also specialized in the restaurant industry. He opened his own restaurant in Boston, which is great because he knows a lot about the Boston market and about hands-on restaurant operations. And then I want to mention Juan and Ekaterina. They are PhD students at the Harvard School of Public Health and work under the supervision of the professor who actually developed the healthy eating plate. So they make sure that our menu is really healthy and is in line with the healthy eating plate diet. So let's talk about financials. We plan to generate $1 million in revenue within the first year, and we'll increase this to about $1.5 million within 3 years. Our EBIT margin is 12%, the net income target is 10%. So let me quickly talk about the assumptions to give you a sense on how aggressive or conservative the numbers are. So in terms of revenues, we are targeting a location with 70 seats and are targeting a lunch turnover of 2. This means 140 customers on weekdays per lunch. So let's compare this to the competitors. For example, Freshie and Sebastian's, which are in downtown Boston, and they serve 250 to 300 customers per day. That's why we think that 140 is totally realistic and not over-optimistic. When it comes to the cost data, we build it up actually, so the most important part are the COGS. We have the recipes, we know our menu, that's why we know exactly what the cost of the goods will be. We build a labor schedule, so this is how we came up with the labor cost. We talked to real estate brokers to calculate the rent. And for smaller parts like utility costs, we took industry average. So this model leads us to believe that we can deliver an IRR for equity investors of about 35%. In total, we are looking for an investment of $850,000. So the good thing about restaurants is that we will have collaterals. We are a real business, which means that we can take on debt. That's why we are planning on taking on about $150,000 in debt and the rest, which are $700,000 in equity. We think big. It's not only about this one unit in Boston. We want to reach the entire nation and most importantly also reach people who don't have access to healthy food at the moment. As you can see here, we plan to open about 50 units within 10 years, which would generate over $60 million in revenue and about $7 million in EBIT every year. It's not only about the cash, it's also about the impact we will have on the life of the people. Now we know that it's pretty difficult to measure what impact we will have on obesity and cancer. But what we can do, we can calculate how much fat we will save the people. And fat equals obesity and also equals an increased risk in cancer. And as you can see, believe it or not, but after 10 years, we will save our customers up to 70 tons of fat every single year. So where are we and what are our next steps? During the last month, we developed the concept. We lined up great suppliers, great partners, great mentors. I've shown you our advisors, but we also built relationship with real estate brokers, with designers, and also with the supplier of the e-menu. We also looked at first locations so to get a pretty good sense of where we could actually open the first unit. And most importantly, we developed the menu and tested it. So now we want to further test the menu. I will talk about this in more detail in a second. So this would be the next step, together with detailing the plan, lining up more suppliers, choosing a location, and of course, raising the capital needed. And then subsequent steps would be opening the first unit in Boston next year and then expand across the nation. So to test the concept, we have two really exciting options. The first one is we can test 2 to 4 dishes during lunch service at Microsoft's headquarters restaurant in Redmond. The good thing about that is that we would really target our target market, white-collar workers. Also, it would be really easy to implement and relatively cheaply because we have the connections there. So all we would need to pay for is additional labor costs, which will be around $1,600. And we can implement this really quickly. Within 1 week, we can get started. The other and maybe even more exciting option is we have the opportunity to test 2 to 4 dishes for several weeks out of one international. Obviously, big benefit would be it's not only the target market, white-collar workers, it's also the target location. It's downtown Boston. So this would be slightly more expensive because we would have to collaborate with a catering service provider. We think that we might need about $6,200. Of course, we will sell the dishes. We would sell them also in the Microsoft headquarter restaurant. But in the one international option, we could actually keep the profit. So we need $6,200 US, but we also hope to be able to give back a profit. So how will the President's Challenge help us? obviously every cash prize would be put in those 2 tests I've just mentioned, and they would help us a lot to validate our concept and be ready to talk to investors. Every remaining cash will be used as founders' equity, and again will help us a lot to raise more equity going forward. And maybe even more important is the feedback and the exposure. Just being here, having people listening to us and having mentors and advisors giving us feedback on the concept and being able to develop further was a great experience. So with that said, thank you so much for your attention and enjoy the rest of Demo Day.